Hey guys, today I want to talk about my experience growing up in the LDS church, also known as the Mormon church, but not to get confused with the FLDS people who still practice polygamy and kind of dress up in pioneer clothes and stuff like that. Um, the LDS church no longer practices polygamy since like the 1800s when it first started. And yeah, so I was born in Murray, Utah, which is about 10 minutes away from Salt Lake City, Utah, which is the downtown of Utah. And it's also kind of like the headquarters of the LDS Church, Latter-day Saints, Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints, that they now like to be referred to. Um, all means the same. um, but yeah, it has the Salt Lake City Temple there, and yeah. So, my dad was born in Wyoming, but he was raised LDS. Um, his mom is LDS, all of his siblings are LDS, his dad was not. Um, then my mom, she was born in Costa Rica, and she was raised Catholic, but missionaries from the United States who were LDS went on their mission to Costa Rica and taught my mom's family. So she was baptized at the age of 21, I believe. And so eventually she came to the United States to work. And she worked with her sister, first in New Jersey, then they came to, well, then she came to Utah and then met my dad there, because my dad was also there going to school. Then they had me. My parents are devoutly LDS. My dad is the most devout LDS person I think I've ever met. Not to say that other people aren't devout to the LDS religion or any religion, but my dad is just so like committed to it. There is no doubt in his mind that it's not the true church. And then my mom, she's also devout to it, but she kind of has her own thoughts about it. She has her own kind of ideas about maybe the afterlife, spirituality. She's kind of a little bit more open-minded when it comes to those things, but her and my dad are still very conservative, very traditional, everything like that. So yeah, I started going to church when I was a newborn baby with my parents. You first go to sacrament meeting, which they serve you bread and water, which represents the body and blood of Jesus Christ. And then as a little kid, you go to primary. As an adult, you go to Sunday school or Relief Society or priesthood. As a teenager, you go to young men's or young women's. I think they do things a little bit differently now. Just a FYI, I don't really go to church now. I don't have anything against the LDS church. I know a lot of people here in Utah that aren't Mormon or were Mormon or are now not, kind of have like a real beef with the LDS church. They are really against, their policies, their beliefs, kind of, they feel kind of resentment towards it because they feel like they're judgmental or something. But for me, I actually think that the LDS church has made Utah a really nice place. Like, besides the nature, which doesn't have anything to do with the LDS church, like, Utah's actually a really nice place to live. Like, if you go to Salt Lake City, it's always really clean. They did an amazing job with City Creek, which is the mall that the LDS church kind of put together. And people are saying, well, like, it's from tithing money or whatever, which I don't think it is. But even if it was, like, it's not like they're paying tithing, and I'm sure they've enjoyed, like, seeing the lights in Temple Square, and I don't know, like, I don't think they're out to hurt anyone. Um, they do believe that marriage should be between a man and a woman, but that's kind of the basicness of all Christian religion. And even though for me, I think that, you know, Jesus would have been fine with any kind of love, I'm sure that throughout the years, throughout the decades, like, there'll be more evolving of that, but that's just how they feel right now, and it's hard for some people, I know, but it's just kind of the teachings that they've had for so long, and hopefully they, like I said, evolve one day and know that it's not a big deal. And okay, so let's see. So yeah, I started going to primary, then I went to young women's. In young women's is where they really started kind of engraving this idea of the woman's worth. And I'm sorry, like, I'm trying to like get everything like out in like a way, but I know it's kind of like scattered, but I'm just kind of like talking freely. And they kind of like, the woman's worth is same as like a ruby's worth, which means like very sexually clean. That's like a really big deal in the LDS church, is being sexually pure. And same with the guys, I think they kind of emphasize it a little bit more for the girls. And that really stuck with me. My mom and dad, mostly my mom, was like, you have to save yourself for a guy that's really gonna love you and is gonna marry you, because if you don't, then you're just like a joke to him. You're not gonna be clean for the guy that actually loves you, like. And it was really hard, because in my mind I was kind of like, really, like, a guy's not gonna love me enough because like maybe I've had relations with like another guy before. But regardless of me thinking contrary to what they taught about sexuality, when I did have my first time at 20, which was 2 years ago, and the guy actually turned out to be a not so nice guy, and he left me for a really mean girl with like 3 kids. No offense to like the single moms, but she just wasn't a nice person. She wasn't nice to her kids. Like, she was very problematic, and it just really hurt me that he would leave kind of like my sincere love that I was giving him for someone like that, and he just really mistreated me for a long time. But anyways, like, after that happened, I was like, this is God, like, punishing me, because I, like, gave myself to this man that didn't love me like I thought he did. Maybe I should have waited till marriage. Like, am I not worth, like, anything anymore, you know? I remember playing Mary, the mother of Jesus, when I was about 17 in a play, and I remember I think feeling like, yeah, like, I think I'm worth a lot. Like, I've never been touched by a man. I am a virgin. Like, I don't know, like, I've always kind of had like this I don't know, like, weird relationship with like me and purity and what that means, and because of how I was raised, like my parents, like myself, like the church. And yeah, like, I couldn't talk to my mom about my first time. I think she kind of maybe realizes now that I'm not maybe a virgin or whatever, but I know that it would be really hard for her to like accept fully. And that was really hard because I wanted to talk to her about it. I wanted to be like, Mom, like this happened, like this and this happened, this is how I feel, you know, but because of how she is and maybe the church's teachings, like, um, I think I was seeing like a little bit less. And in my mind, I looked at myself as a little bit less. And, yeah, I could go on about that, but, let's see what else. Um, there in my high school, pretty much, I think like 85% of the people that went there were LDS. Um, I was really close to my young women's leaders. They were kind of like these mentors, and they really helped me. They were really nice to me, but they expected me to be a certain way, whether it be on social media or just in real life. Like, I distinctly remember holding up part of the LGBT flag at my high school that they had, and just kind of showing my support for them. Um, I don't really identify as like a single letter of that or whatever, but I am open to all loves personally. But yeah, I just remember one of my young women's leaders being like very disappointed in me and like contacting my mom and like, yeah, just they have a very like complicated relationship with sexuality. They find anything that isn't behind closed doors, like keep on the down low, married, between a husband and wife. Any other sexuality besides that is, second to murder when it comes to the list of sins. And I think they need to chill out with that, but that's just how it is. Conservative Utah. Um, so yeah, a little backstory about the LDS. It was founded by a guy named Joseph Smith. He was in New York. He was 14 at the time that he first started praying about it. And he just really felt like he got a message from God, like a direct message. And yeah, he basically started it, and his family was on board. He was super persecuted because everyone was like, what is this random person doing, like leading a church in like the 1800s. That was like a big deal. There's a lot of theories and stuff about Joseph Smith, but for me, I don't think he was a bad guy. Like, I just think that maybe he was like a little manic, who knows. But I do think that he felt, well, he did felt spiritually, and that was right for him and whoever thought the same as him. And maybe that's not right for everyone else, but I can respect that, and I'm not gonna like fully reject the LDS church. Like, it's part of me. Like, my parents are LDS. Like, a lot of people close to my heart are LDS. Like, it's kind of like a culture here almost in Utah, and I think I'm part of it. Like, even though maybe I'm not active in the church, or definitely have my own, I guess, theories and beliefs and stuff that don't really coincide with the church's teachings. I don't hate it. Like, I have had some hard times with the church, especially with my parents, and I wish I could just talk to my dad sometimes and just be like, Dad, like, what do you think about this? But how about let's separate the church? Let me just talk to you as Grant, my dad. But that's not possible because his identity is 100% the church, which is interesting and good and bad, I guess. But yeah, I do think it was a little bit restricting growing up. I was very sheltered. Swearing was a huge deal. If either my mom or dad heard one swear word in a song, they would freak. They'd be like, I can't believe you are doing this to yourself, to like the Holy Ghost, to like God, everything. And it's like, I don't know if it maybe is that big of a deal, but yeah. Yeah, my high school was pretty conservative, I think, because of LDS. Um, was there any like rivalry between the LDS and non-LDS? I would say no. Like I think like everyone talked to everyone. I feel like if there was like a richer LDS person at my high school, they would definitely not talk to someone who was like maybe like a druggie or like a skater person that wasn't LDS, or maybe from like a lower social class, you know. There was definitely that. There was a little bit of judgment, I think, within the church, like with it towards other people, but for the most part, like they were people are really nice and they're really accepting, and it is kind of a crisis with the with LGBT and the church, but like I said, it's hard because that's just like what Christianity believes, and I'm not saying that's right, you know, it's just how it has been for so long. And now that we're finally like coming out of this very conservative mentality that I feel like the US has had for, you know, many years, and like we're finally being open to different types of love and lifestyles, like just the conservative Christian, you know, kind of thing does not want to let go of how things used to be and what they believe and all of that. And that's hard, you know, but let's see. Going inside the temple is like a big deal. Um, I feel like um, I would say kind of like culty things go on in the temple. And I'm so sorry if anyone here is watching and is LDS, but that's kind of how I see it. Like, I feel like it is sacred for them, but I also kind of feel like it's kind of a little bit culty. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way, you know, it's just they wear certain things, they like have certain signs, like, and again, like, no offense, you know, like they can do whatever they want because again, they're not hurting anyone. But getting married in the temple is a big deal in the church. If someone gets married and they don't get married in the temple, it's kind of like, oh well, is that good enough as a marriage? As someone that did get married in the temple, um, and I think that's not very cool either. But if that someone's goal is to get married in the temple with someone that they love, then I feel like they should. And I know that my parents really wanted me to get married in the temple one day, and I don't I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't even know if like I'm gonna like for sure get married. Like I definitely hope so, but I don't know, you know. I do want to get married, but I don't think it's gonna be in the temple if I do get married. Um so yeah, it's kind of like a part one. I might make a part two later. Um this is kind of scattered, so maybe the next one like I'll make it more in order or something, or I don't know. But yeah, kind of just like the big things were kind of like sex was very taboo. It still is. You know, not open to marijuana, which they should be. It'd make Utah better, but again, like it's kind of like the conservative mentality. very sheltered, scared to talk to my mom and dad, kind of like when I had sex for the first time. When they found out I smoked weed, that was a crisis. But I think for most parents, like, if they're conservative, that's a crisis if they find out their child is smoking weed. But we moved past it, thankfully, and we've all grown, the three of us, like, together. Like, they're still, you know, for sure LDS, but I feel like they accept me, kind of. But anyways, yeah, that's basically all I'm gonna say for this video. I think I'm gonna make another one. This one was kind of all over, but I just wanted to get a little bit of it out there. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.